This is the story of what happens when the greatest statistical season in modern NBA history isn't enough to win MVP. And then the player comes back and does it again. Nikola Jokić has just become only the second player in NBA history to average a triple-double in back-to-back seasons. The other player is Russell Westbrook, who did it 3 years in a row, and right now Westbrook plays alongside Jokić on the Denver Nuggets. Let that sit for a second. Before we get into the numbers, we need to talk about how rare this actually is, because I think it gets completely lost in the day-to-day highlight cycle. In the entire history of the NBA, only 3 players have ever averaged a triple-double for a full season. 3. The league has existed since 1946. Thousands of players have come through it, dozens of all-time greats, and only 3 men have ever hit double digits in points, rebounds, and assists as a season-long average. The first was Oscar Robertson. Back in 1961-62, over 60 years ago, Robertson did it once. The second was Russell Westbrook. Westbrook did it 4 times from 2016 through 2019, and then again in 2021. When Westbrook was doing it, the basketball world treated it like a wonder of the modern era. He was on magazine covers. He won MVP. People were genuinely debating whether anyone would ever do it again. Then came Jokić. In 2024-25, he finished the season averaging 29.8 points, 12.8 rebounds, and 10.2 assists per game. That was the first time in his entire career he'd averaged double digits in assists. His previous career best had been 9.8. He crossed the threshold, became the 3rd man ever to do it, and the basketball world acknowledged it briefly, then moved on. So he came back in 2025-26 and did it again. This season, 27.7 points, 13.0 rebounds, 10.8 assists. But here's the part that goes beyond just repeating the feat. He is leading the entire league in both rebounds and assists at the same time, and that has not happened since 1969. Not once in over 50 years. Now, here's what separates Jokić from any conversation about statistics being a product of the era or the system. The records he holds are not just best of the last decade records. They are all-time records. Some of them are records that flat out did not exist before he created them because no one had ever done what he does. On February 15, 2018, he recorded the fastest triple-double in NBA history. He hit the mark just 14 minutes and 33 seconds into a game against the Milwaukee Bucks. The previous record had stood for nearly 63 years. He is the only player in NBA history to record what's known as a 30-20-20 game, at least 30 points, 20 rebounds, and 20 assists in a single game. He did it in March of 2025 against Phoenix. The final line, 31 points, 21 rebounds, 22 assists in an overtime win. That statistical line had never existed before that night. And just last April, he scored 61 points in a game while also recording 10 rebounds and 10 assists. That is the highest scoring triple-double in the history of the NBA. He has recorded a triple-double against every single team in the league. The only other players who can say that are LeBron James and Russell Westbrook. This season alone, he has 32 triple-doubles, 2 short of the career high of 34 he set last year. In the last 6 games heading into the final stretch, he had 5 triple-doubles. During that run, he averaged 23.5 points, 16.5 rebounds, and 13.7 assists, while shooting 55.6% from the floor. And one more number, Denver scores 13.5 more points per 100 possessions when Jokić is on the floor versus when he's off it. One player, one lineup change, 13.5 points. Now let's talk about the MVP situation because you can't tell this story without it. In 2024-25, Jokić put up one of the most statistically dominant individual seasons in the history of professional basketball. He became the first player ever to rank in the top 3 in the entire league simultaneously in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. He recorded the only 30-20-20 game in history. He scored 61 points in a triple-double. He became only the third player ever to average a triple-double for a full season. He did not win MVP. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder won it. OKC finished that season 68 wins and 14 losses. Denver finished 50-32. And team success carries enormous weight in MVP voting. The gap in records was just too large to overcome. Nuggets interim coach David Adelman said it directly. If he doesn't win the MVP, it's the greatest season of all time not to win the MVP. Now in 2025-26, it's happening again. The numbers are historically elite. He is on pace to lead the league in both rebounds and assists for the first time since 1969. And according to the final ESPN straw poll of 100 media members, the MVP race is a two-man battle between Gilgeous-Alexander and a surging Victor Wembanyama of the San Antonio Spurs. Jokić did receive 3 first-place votes. He appeared on 99 of the 100 ballots. Almost every voter who follows this league closely acknowledges what he is, but 3 first-place votes out of 100 is a long way from winnings. It's a genuinely strange place to be, historically dominant, doing things no one has ever done, and still on the outside of the award that is supposed to recognize the best player in the league. And it raises a legitimate question that has no clean answer. How do voters weigh individual brilliance against team success? Is 13.5 extra points per 100 possessions enough? Is a 30-20-20 game enough? Is back-to-back triple-double averages enough? Apparently, in 2 consecutive seasons now, the answer has been not quite. Let's come back to the core of this for a moment because it really does deserve appreciation on its own terms. Westbrook averaged a triple-double for 4 seasons. He did it through an explosive, high-volume approach. He was the engine of his team, the scorer, the ball handler, the rebounder, all at once. His style was relentless, fast, ferocious. Jokic's game looks nothing like that. He plays at a slow, deliberate pace. He pauses when he gets the ball. He surveys the floor. He sees things that other players, guards, wings, anyone, simply cannot see from where he stands. He plays center. He's 6'11" and weighs 284 pounds, and he is averaging over 10 assists per game. Assists are a point guard's category. That is the job description of a point guard, to create opportunities for everyone else. Jokić does it from the center position, while also leading the league in rebounds, while also scoring nearly 28 points a night. He has been called the greatest passing big man in NBA history, and seasons like this one make it very hard to argue with that. He and Jamal Murray have now accumulated 400 wins together as teammates, including playoff games, the most by any pair of teammates in the NBA since the 2016-17 season. When Jokić reflected on that milestone, he said, "It's the growth, how we both started and the path that we had basically from nobody to somebody and to championship. And still growing and still performing, the growth that we had together is something that is really unique." That is how he talks about basketball, growth. Together, the path. Not individual records, not personal glory, and yet the individual records keep coming because the way he lifts everyone around him inevitably produces them. So let's bring this all the way around. Nikola Jokić has done something only one other player in the history of professional basketball has ever done. He has averaged a triple-double for 2 consecutive seasons. He leads the league in rebounds. He leads the league in assists. He is on track to become the first player since 1969 to lead in both categories at the same time. His team scores 13.5 more points per 100 possessions when he plays. He holds the record for the fastest triple-double in history, the highest scoring triple-double in history, and the only 30-20-20 game in history. And he probably will not win MVP this year. That tension is going to be part of how we remember this era. What the numbers say versus what the voters decide. Whether team records should outweigh individual dominance. at a level that has simply never been seen before, but the numbers are already written. Oscar Robertson did it once, Russell Westbrook did it 4 times, Nikola Jokić has now done it twice, back-to-back, and the regular season is still not finished. 3 players. In the entire history of this league, that is the company he keeps. And right now, he is the only one of those 3 still playing.